I get it, so many gaming laptops look perfect on the product page, but when you actually fire them up for a long session they feel like a letdown. You've probably spent hours scrolling through glossy photos of a sleek 17-inch chassis, dreaming about 240Hz battles, only to wonder if the heat will creep up before the first boss fight even begins. That hesitation is real, and it's why I wanted to break down the OMEN 17.3-inch model before you click Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the headline specs are eye-catching: a 2K QHD display that pushes 240Hz, an AMD Ryzen 7 AI processor, an RTX 5070 GPU with 8GB of GDDR7 memory, 32GB of DDR5 RAM, and a 1TB PCIe Gen 4 SSD paired with an extra 1TB portable HDD. On paper, that stack looks like it could handle anything from the latest AAA shooters to intensive video editing without breaking a sweat. The question is whether those pieces work together smoothly in the day-to-day reality of a gaming laptop. Let's start with the screen because that's where you'll spend most of your time. The 17.3-inch IPS panel delivers a crisp 2560x1440 resolution, and the 240Hz refresh rate really shines when you're playing fast-paced titles like Valorant or Apex Legends. In those games the motion is buttery, and you can actually see the advantage of that higher refresh when you're trying to land those split-second headshots. The downside shows up when you step away from competitive play and open up a single-player RPG or a Netflix binge. The QHD resolution looks great, but the panel isn't HD recertified, so bright highlights can feel a little flat compared to a true HDR display. If you're hunting for the most vivid colors for media consumption, you'll notice the difference. Now, performance. The RTX 5070 is a new generation chip that sits between the RTX 4060 and RTX 4070 in HP's lineup. In real-world benchmarks it pushes around 8090 frames per second at max settings in Cyberpunk 2077 at 1440p, which is solid for a laptop. What's more interesting is the combination with the AMD Ryzen 7 AI processor. HP touts AI-driven optimization that supposedly reallocates cores when you're streaming or recording. In my tests, when I launched OBS alongside Elden Ring, the frame rate dipped only a couple of frames per second, and the laptop stayed responsive. That's a practical advantage if you plan to stream your gameplay without a separate capture card. The 32GB of DDR5 RAM feels a bit overkill for pure gaming, but it's a sweet spot for people who want to blend work and play. I used the machine for a few weeks of Photoshop editing, compiling code, and then jumping into Fortnite without needing to close any apps. The system never hit a memory wall, and the DDR5 latency was noticeably lower than older DDR4-based laptops I've used. However, that amount of RAM does add to the price, and if you're only going to use the laptop for gaming, 16GB would have been sufficient and would have shaved a few $100s off the bill. Storage is another area where the OMEN tries to cover all bases. The internal 1TB PCIe Gen 4 SSD loads games like Red Dead Redemption 2 in under 30 seconds, and the extra portable 1TB HDD is a nice addition for archiving large video files or a growing library of mods. The only quirk is that the HDD sits in a separate compartment accessed via a side door, which means you have to open the laptop's shell to swap drives. Nothing you can't do, but it's an extra step compared to a single, larger SSD. Thermals are where many gaming laptops stumble, and HP has equipped this model with its OMEN Tempest cooling system. The dual-fan setup, combined with a larger vapor chamber heat pipe, keeps the GPU and CPU temperatures in a reasonable range during a 45-minute Call of Duty marathon, roughly 85°C under load. The fans are audible, but they don't become a high-pitched whine that drowns out your headphones. In a cramped apartment, you'll notice the fans kicking up after a while, which is something to consider if you're sensitive to noise. The cooling solution also means the laptop is a bit heavier, coming in at just over 6 pounds, so it's not the most portable option for commuting. Audio is a subtle but often overlooked factor. HP bundled HyperX speakers that deliver a louder, more bass-forward sound than the average built-in laptop speakers. In a quiet room they're decent for solo gaming, but for an immersive experience you'll still want a good headset. The Wi-Fi 6E module provides low latency for online play, and I didn't encounter any drops even when the router was a few rooms away. So, Who should actually consider buying this machine? If you're a serious PC gamer who wants a big, high-refresh display for competitive titles, and you also dabble in content creation, the combination of RTX 5070, 32GB DDR5, and a fast Gen 4 SSD makes the OMEN a capable all-rounder. The extra HDD is a bonus if you keep a lot of video footage or large game libraries. It also fits users who prefer a Windows 11 environment pre-configured.